Death, Texas, and Tacos is brought to you by Arrowwood Law Firm and Grange Hall.
Okay, y'all. Everyone sit down, shut your damn mouths, and open up your ears. Because it's time for Death, Texas, and Tacos with my boys, Brad and Barry, the Klinge Brothers, and the OG ghost brother himself, Mr. Steve Harris.
You still have your Jeep? Yeah. How many miles I think I'm on now?
Two, sitting at two, or I think 200,000, 100,000, something like that.
Big difference between 200,000 and 100,000.
No, upper. What I meant to say is upper.
Yeah, 100,000.
Oh, 1, 2, 300,000, something like that. A couple miles here or there.
He's probably using it as a mobile food truck these days. You got a pretty good idea, Steve.
I know. I actually thought about that. We make some breakfast tacos tomorrow and call City of Shirts, get a food license real quick, and just drive around the neighborhood and sell it.
Oh, that reminds me. I got another soda for you.
Oh, what?
It's by Crush. It's watermelon soda.
That doesn't sound very good.
You know what it tastes like?
Watermelons.
What?
It smells exactly like a watermelon Jolly Rancher.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd like to.
Tastes exactly like it.
Watermelon's the devil.
I'll have to try. Well,
Can't stand watermelon.
Well, do you like watermelon flavor?
No.
Like not even the Jolly Rancher or anything like that?
No.
Yeah.
It tastes like basically like a liquid Jolly Rancher.
I don't know about
it's
that. But now I have to try it.
In soda form. It's by Crush.
Steve, the other day I went to, Bahama Bucks. You ever been to Bahama Bucks?
Yeah, I like Bahama Bucks.
They have an orange crush flavor.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was good.
Half orange crush, half banana. It's the bomb. Get that one next time.
I usually spend like an hour there trying to think of a flavor.
I can only imagine. There's like 90 flavors there. I thought that Steve Harris probably cannot decide.
It's like sensor. It's like overload. Oh,
Steve Harris is famous for coming out of the convenience store while we're filming and saying, "Yeah, I got a chocolate pomegranate cherry soda." I'm like, what the heck?
Like, what? I got ketchup, cilantro, barbecue, Fritos.
Yeah.
But that's why we gained a lot of weight on Ghost Labs because of that, eating late and convenience stores and all that kind of stuff. Good times. That reminds me, a lot of we went on the road a lot. We went everywhere around the country. But one of my favorite episodes, and people still talk about it. In fact, on the chat last week, there's people talking about it. I can't get away. Every time you mention Ghost Lab, they mention the John Wilkes Booth episode.
Great episode.
Granbury, Texas. And what's people don't realize, we're going to tell you that story real quick because there were some things we loved about it. There were some things we hated about it. But I'll tell you this. After filming that episode and after talking with all those people, I believe that John Wilkes Booth got away with it, man. That dude got away with murder, for real. But what's funny is how that whole thing started is we got the green light to actually, have we made it down to get the green light yet? Or are we still
we actually
traveling?
got the green light to do Ghost Lab, and then that summer, like June or like early
That
June,
was when we were doing our scouts.
We did this. Brad and I and Al went on this road trip. We went to up through Mississippi. We went down to New Orleans area. We went all the way over to Tombstone, and then we went up to in Granbury area, and we actually walked in to the Opera House where the episode was at.
Because the rumor was, or the story was, is that there's this opera house in Granbury, Texas, that John Wilkes Booth supposedly came to and was a teacher there, was an acting coach or acting instructor there after the assassination of Lincoln. And everybody in the history books will tell you that he assassinated Lincoln, they cornered him in a barn in Virginia, and they burned it down. They shot him, killed him, and burned it down. End of story, right? Well, the rumor is that he escaped that. There's this whole government conspiracy about the assassination. He escaped that, showed up in Granbury, Texas, and lived out his life. But then he moved on to Enid, Oklahoma. But the entire episode, we kind of traced this whole conspiracy. The thing we thought we walked in there was like, man, Barry, it'd be really cool.
We actually said this. We said this same. What he's about to say. We said this.
Wouldn't it be really cool if we actually found John Wilkes Booth? And we're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, that'd be cool, but that would just be like, unbelievable.
At least a couple months before we actually filmed there, we said that statement. Wouldn't it be really cool that we actually found John Wilkes Booth? Like, whatever. That can happen.
But, one thing leads to another, and they agreed to do the episode, and we show up there, and we go after John Wilkes Booth. I mean, we all know the story. We're Civil War buffs, obviously. The whole Gettysburg experience and everything that I've done in the past. A lot of Civil War history. So why not talk about the assassination of a president? Everybody knows it's very well known, but not a lot of people know about the conspiracy. And so we decided to do this episode, and we went up there and we said, you know what, we're going to pretend that it's true that John Wilkes Booth haunts this Granbury Opera House, and we're going to go after him. Now, kind of the backstory of that thing is this guy shows up a few months, a year or so after the assassination, and he goes by the name of John St. Helens. Okay, he walks in to the opera house and he needs a job. Here's this trained Shakespearean actor. When you're talking about Texas, which is the Wild West at that point in time, you don't have too many trained Shakespearean actors here. Walks with a limp and the whole nine.
He also has the injured. His thumb is really injured from a rope accident on a back, like the rope that holds the curtains. Mm-hmm. So as he had that injured, prior to possibly shooting Lincoln. He had this injury. This guy also had that injury. And like they said, the Shakespearean actor, how many Shakespearean actors do you have in Granbury, Texas, of all places? This guy was the true Shakespearean actor. He was good. They say he's a very good actor. But he wanted to coach acting.
Yeah. He was like came down to be a teacher or whatever. Now, he didn't come down and say, hey, guys, I'm John Wilkes Booth, and I'm here to apply for a job. Now, he came down as John St. Helens. He was undercover, apparently. And lived there for years. Well, I'll tell the long story short is that he ended up dying of something. He was on his deathbed, and he confessed to being John Wilkes Booth. Okay, but then he didn't die. Like, oops,
no shit,
oh shit. What happened? You just confessed to killing a president, and you don't die. So the story goes that he bolted out of Granbury, and the rumor is that he went up to Enid, Oklahoma, where he lived out of his life in this little apartment, this little one-bedroom apartment that's now on the upstairs of a furniture store that we also went and investigated.
I remember that.
Yeah, it's the Garfield Furniture Store. Mm-hmm. And he drank strychnine and committed suicide there. Now, I'm not so sure if I buy the whole that was him in Enid, Oklahoma. The pictures that I've seen and the whole, there was a mummy of him that after he died, the funeral home propped him up in the window, and he became a circus sideshow.
They actually went on a road trip in a circus or a sideshow. They actually displayed, this is the mummy of John Wilkes Booth. He made the rounds, and all of a sudden, someone loses it. The body disappears.
Body disappears.
They don't know where
it's stolen or whatever. But the body that died in Enid, Oklahoma was the mummy that they toured around for sure.
Right.
But whether that was John Wilkes Booth or not, that's up for. And based on everything that we learned, that probably wasn't. I'm not sure where he ended up after Granbury, but the dude was in Granbury. Because what happened was when he confessed to the death, he told the people, "You can find the gun that I shot Lincoln with buried in this certain spot, wrapped in the newspaper of the assassination." Sure enough, they went there and they found it. It was there. Who would know that other than John Wilkes Booth? So great. We're here. We feel that he's there. We talked to the family members. We talked to conspiracy theorists. It was the niece, wasn't it?
The niece of John, or great niece, or whatever.
She says that the family, it's a known fact that even though John Wilkes Booth is kind of a black spot on their family, they know that he escaped. They know that he did not die in that barn. In fact, when the army came and killed the person in the barn, they reported that this person in the barn was a redhead and didn't have a broken leg. Okay, John Wilkes Booth had dark hair and obviously had a broken leg. Well, what happened at the time, it's like, hey, this guy just shot the president. Oops, this is not him. What do we do? Let's just tell everybody it's him, and we're the heroes, and story's done. We don't have to worry about this anymore. And that's what happened. And to this day, the family's been trying to exhume the body of what is John Wilkes Booth, where he's buried, and the government blocks it.
The U.S. government
will not let it happen.
Even though they are blood relatives and have every right to exhume the body, it's their family, the government says no.
No, they're not going to do it.
So, somebody knows something.
So with all that backstory, of course, it's like this is pretty viable. So we go in there and we're taunting and we're after John Wilkes Booth in our style. Okay, here's an assassin. Here's someone who's on the run. That's our specialty, man. We're going to taunt this guy until he comes out. So in the episode, this is one of the things that Barry and I speak about this all the time.
Yeah, we talk to do lectures.
We do lectures.
Talk
on
about this very thing, right? We're about to talk about.
So if you watch the episode, there's a scene. Remember the scene where and this was our idea. We said, since he was an actor, let's bring in the townspeople of Granbury and let's put on a show. Let's put him in the audience, and we can do our investigation with John Wilkes, or for John Wilkes Booth, with everybody in the audience.
I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, remember? So they went out. The production company got everybody in town for this experiment, and they put him in there, and we started. It was Barry and I up on the stage. I got to back up on that. First night we were there, it was Barry, me, and you, Steve. Mm-hmm. We were in the theater by ourselves.
I remember this.
Remember?
Me and Steve were downstairs, and you were upstairs.
Yeah.
I had a replica of the pistol that he used to shoot Lincoln, and I was up on the balcony, and Steve had the accelerometer up there. We're looking for vibrations and things, and we were taunting him. And we were, John Wilkes Booth, you dirty son of a bitch, you did this, blah, 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 the way we do it. Nothing happens, or we didn't really get anything, right?
Right.
Okay, so the next night is when we decide, hey, let's put on the show.
So the show, we bring the crowd in because we're thinking, hey, John Wilkes Booth's an actor. He likes a crowd. We're going to get activity because the crowds, and that was the whole premise of the actual experiment. So we do the thing for about 30, 40 minutes. We do this. We let the crowd out, and they're filing out. Well, during that time, so this is day 2. Okay, this is starting the evening of day 2. We've already investigated the night before with us 3. Steve Hawk is in the Ghost Lab, listening to our EVP sessions from the night before.
While the crowd is
trying to
in
catch
there.
up on all of our evidence, possible evidence. He's in there because he's not involved with what we're doing. He's catching up. That's why he's in the Ghost Lab. As soon as the people are leaving the theater, they're walking out of the Opera House, we get a radio call from Hawk. Guys, hey, Steve Hawk, the Ghost Lab. We answer, yeah. He goes, you got to come out. I got something. You got to come out and hear this. All right, cool. We're excited. We file out. Here's, of course, when you hear it on the radio, the cameras are like, oh, we're going to have some good stuff, and they're all following us. We walk into the Ghost Lab. The typical scene, Hawk's there with the headphones. He's gives it to you first,
to me,
right?
To me
Brad
first.
listened to it first.
Well, but here's Steve said, I think I hear something. He didn't know what it was.
He didn't
saying.
know. He didn't know what it was.
It was just a voice there, and I listened to it, and I about shit my pants.
Wait, I think I remember. Didn't you throw your
No, that was me.
That was him.
Okay.
That was after the fact.
Okay.
So I literally shit my pants, and it's like I hear this voice that says, because what it is the recording from the night before. I'm snapping the gun, and I said,
Make yourself
known, or if you're here, make yourself known, something like that. And you hear this voice, and it's in a very like hollow, electronic, metallic sound. Yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth, you bastard. And they managed to cut the "you bastard" part out of the edit. But on the original, it does say, yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth, you bastard. Here's the clip from Ghost Lab itself. Make yourself known.
I'm John Wilkes.
I'm John Wilkes.
Booth.
You hear the John in there?
There's a John.
Yes, I hear it. Oh, my God. You come up and do something about it. Make yourself known. Make yourself known. Yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth. Now get the out. What do you want from me? We were looking for proof, some sort of evidence that John Wilkes Booth is haunting the Granbury Opera House, and we get an EVP that says, yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth. The voice actually follows a lot of the traits and characteristics of an EVP. It was a very low frequency that you really probably couldn't hear with your own ears. It was part of the ambient noise. All it had to do is take out the ambient noise, raise up the volume a little bit, and it's clear as day.
Says it just, yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth, you bastard.
And that's what we got the first night we were there.
When I first heard it, I heard, yes, I'm Wilkes Booth, okay? I got Barry, you come in here. Barry listened to it. Yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth.
I
And
said, there's a John in there. Not just Wilkes Booth.
Oh, yeah. There's a John and a you bastard on it. I am John Wilkes Booth, you bastard. The place erupted. Remember, we were dancing.
That's when the headphone flipped.
It flew off. Yeah, I remember that.
We were dancing in the streets. We were like, we just on a ghost show, an investigation. We just changed American history.
Trying to rewrite the history books.
Yeah, that's what I said. Call the history company. Tell them to rewrite the history books. We did it, and very, very exciting. And we wrapped up the investigation. And we had a day off the next day. Okay,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And we'll get to the day off here in just a second because there's a fucking hilarious story to that. Actually, this is probably a great time to take a break, so we're going to do that, and we'll be right back.
Hey, y'all, let's take a minute to talk about the people who pay for all this shit here. So do us a favor and listen up.
Have you found yourself facing DUI charges?
Arrowwood Law Firm.
Have you had your license suspended?
Arrowwood Law Firm.
In the middle of a nasty divorce?
Arrowwood Law Firm.
Then call Jeff Arrowwood of Arrowwood Law Firm. 850-244-JEFF. That's 850-244-5333. With offices in Fort Walton Beach, Tallahassee, and Tampa, Florida. He's here to help fellow Floridians. Call Jeff Arrowwood. 850-244-JEFF.
Arrowwood Law Firm.
Now back to Death, Texas, and Tacos with the Klinge Brothers and Steve.
All right, we are back. Before the break, we were talking about the John Wilkes Booth episode, and we were going into it right when Barry and I were watching it on television for the first time. Okay, so we watched the episode. The episode comes out, and we're up in Illinois filming the alt. Remember, we had to go up and film the Alton thing?
Oh, yeah. We're up at the...
yeah, we had to do a reshoot.
McPike Mansion.
McPike Mansion, and it came out. And so that night, we went to a local sports bar with us and the crew, and we watched the John Wilkes Booth episode. And the part it came where we were doing the investigation, they brought the townspeople in. And I was thinking, okay, well, they're going to show the townspeople leaving, and Steve Hawk gets this EVP. We go out there, and it's crazy. Well, what happened is they showed it, so you, me, and Barry, Steve, were walking around the night before, but they intermixed it with when the crowd was there.
It looked like we were walking around during the
experiment. And then when I click, I go upstairs. There's a reason why I go upstairs for whatever reason, and it makes it look so they intermixed the two. I said, come on out, John. Click, click. And then they cut to Steve Hawk in the lab listening. They made it look like he was actually listening to the session that was going on when the crowd was in there. And then he's like, "Oh, got it." Calls, the crowd leaves. Then he calls Brad. Barry, you got to come hear this. And that's when we go in and do that. They made it look like we caught it when the crowd was in there.
It was
live.
the experiment worked, and we caught this voice from the experiment.
And that pissed us off because here's the deal. The first thing that people are going to say to that is, someone in the crowd said that.
not going to say. That's what they said.
That's what they said. Well, we knew they were going to say that.
Flooded with emails, man.
Someone in the crowd must have said that. There's too much going on in there to taint the evidence, blah, blah, blah.
You can't listen to that live.
So pissed at the producers. You can't do that. And we're so pissed at the producers for doing that. But they had to when they did that, they had to make an experiment work. Like A plus B equals C. And that pissed us off to no end because now we're the ones that have to deal with the repercussions of that.
Right.
But we go out and we tell the story all the time. There's several instances in Ghost Lab where they did
once
that.
Again, those damn producers.
Yep. But, the story would have been cool that, hey, we did this experiment failed, but there's a glimmer of hope. We got something the night before. That was how it happened, and true to form is how it should have happened, but it didn't, and it pissed us off. But, oh well. It's history. It was still a good show. We still got that. Yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth. But this is the hilarious part. Remember the next day? The next day we had a day off, and I forget where we were going afterwards. But we were leaving Granbury and we were going somewhere else.
No, we're going to Enid. We're going straight to Enid.
Oh, that's right. We were going straight to.
We were
Enid.
going to do the whole story in one fell swoop.
Yeah. So we have this day off, and Granbury has a lake there, Lake Granbury, and Jessica and the kids were up. And so we hung out at the lake for the day. And you two,
we were at the movie theater.
Yeah, you two went to the movies, and I remember specifically y'all saw G.I. Joe. Yes. This is in 2009.
Not a lot of options in here.
It's true. I think they only had like 2 different movies showing at that theater.
So I get I get a phone call while I'm at the lake. It's Steve Hawk. He says, Brad, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? He said, I got an EVP that is better than Yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth. I said, Steve, you got to be shitting me. There's nothing that's better than Yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth. Oh, yes, there is. This is a loud, clear I said, what does it say? He goes, well, I was in the theater and I did an EVP session myself. And it says very clearly. Steve knows he's going. That's why he's giggling.
To get the EVP, he goes, why did you do it, John? That's what started it. Why did you do it, John?
Yeah. He goes, he's taunting. Basically, it's like he's kind of doing what I did, but he's doing it by himself. And he said, after I say, why'd you do it, John, you're going to hear very clear, I didn't do it for the money. I did it for the glory. Holy shit! Are you fucking kidding me?
What?
If an EVP said that whole long sentence and it's that clear, that's unheard of. Oh, 100%, 100%. So I was, oh man, I said, email it to me. So I cut the lake short and I rushed back to the hotel. I called Barry and Steve on the way. I said, hey, listen, Steve Hawk got the EVP of all EVPs. It beats Yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth.
I think I said it was kind of sad. We had to leave that blockbuster G.I. Joe movie to go listen to this crazy EVP.
I remember Barry leaning over and goes, Steve Hawk got an EVP. It's better than what Brad got. We were in the movies. I was like, okay, let's go.
So we run back to the hotel, and I get on my computer, and he sends the email, and I listen. And it's like, yeah, you hear this whole soliloquy by Steve Hawk, Good evening, everyone. My name's Steve Hawk, and I'm a great American. And I'm here today to catch that scoundrel John Wilkes Booth. John, you are the lowest form of person that could ever walk the face of the earth. We're ashamed of you as Americans, and I'm ashamed of you as a fellow human being. But I have to know one thing, John Wilkes Booth. Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it, John? I said, I must have missed it.
Would you rewind it?
I must rewind it. Why'd you do it, John? There wasn't even a, I think I heard a voice, or there was just static.
And then I was like, sometimes there's EVPs that come across that he doesn't hear, that I hear, and vice versa, or he thinks it says something different. So I said, let me hear it. Maybe I can hear it. Why'd you do it, John? I said, there's like not even a
click. It's pure static, and I don't know what he thought he was hearing on that. But I was like, oh man. Well, come to find out, what he did was he went and he got one of the camera guys to come in with him. And he says, hey, I want to do an EVP session on the stage. Oh, okay. So he grabbed one of the camera guys, and the camera guy sat in there and filmed them. Well, I talked to the camera guy later, and I said, did you film him? Because he said he got this EVP. He goes, yeah, he pulled me in there. I didn't have any tapes, but I kind of felt bad, so I just went in there and acted like I was filming him. He didn't even have any tapes in the camera and was filming them. But, so that was a bit of a disappointment, because I was like, man, if we got Yes, I'm John Wilkes Booth, and I didn't do it for the money, I did it for the glory, too unbelievable, right? Well, so we pack up. We go up to Enid, Oklahoma, to kind of continue this story. And like I said, the place where he committed suicide, the room is still there. It's real creepy. It's in this upper attic of a furniture store, and it still has the bed in there. And they still have this actor that comes in every year and does the reenactment. Apparently, this whole what was his name? George something George. The name he went by when he went up there, David George. He went by the name of, so now it wasn't John St. Helen, it was David George. Now this David George guy, when they showed the pictures of the body and stuff like that, it didn't look like.
And the guy in Granbury, the John St. Helens, they had a real picture of John. freaking twin.
Yeah, his twin.
I mean, he looks like John Wilkes Booth.
So, and this wasn't the same guy. So this wasn't even the same John St. Helen guy. It was totally different. But whatever. Their legend is that he committed suicide in that room.
And they have claims there. They see things move. They have ghost sightings in this.
Yeah,
building.
that's kind of why we were up there.
It
Following
was
the
a
trail.
hotel before it was a furniture store.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like I said, they have this actor that comes in every year that does the reenactment of the suicide. I guess there's not a whole lot to do in Eden, Oklahoma. Hey guys, you gonna go watch the David George suicide reenactment this year? It's the 150th annual David George suicide festival.
But prior to that guy getting there, we were investigating there, and this is the original bed.
The original bed.
The original bed that this dude killed himself in is still there.
It's old iron.
I'm
beds,
talking rickety.
Rickety springs.
So my big ass comes in there, and we're doing an EVP session. And I sit down on the bed and I break it.
It's crash.
I mean,
to the floor.
that's a priceless Steinway.
We're like kids were like, oh shit. It's like, so we're kind of trying to piece this thing together and trying to piece it together.
We get it back. It's all whatever. So
just rigged. It's just kind of just standing there, hanging precariously.
So it's either that night or the next day is when this reenactor comes and he's gonna do this big production in this room.
He comes in and he starts to like sit down on the bed and we're kind of like, oh, are you sure you want to sit down on that? That's an old bed. Sons, I have been doing this for 20 years, and I've never broken the bed. He sits down on the bed and lays back and starts to moan and groan like he's just drank straight and he's Brian
What'd you do?
Brian Anderson, the camera guy, he was laughing so hard. I don't know if that piece ever got on Ghost Lab or not. I don't think it did. I think it never made the episode.
Y'all Chris
But
Farley.
he was so. I mean, Brian Anderson was dying laughing. We were peeing our pants laughing. This guy's like, "What are these guys laughing at?" But it's like, I remember like Animal House. It's like, there's no wagering at Bushwood, and I never slice.
Caddyshack.
Oh, Caddyshack. What did I say?
Animal House.
Oh, Animal House. I mean Caddyshack. But yeah, funny stories. But yeah, we got an EVP at the place of a guy. It was screaming,
Yeah, like moaning and
screaming like a guy. I was like, oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. It doesn't say that this is John Wilkes Booth, but it says that hey, we got a EVP of a guy. It sounds like he's dying up there. So that was pretty cool. But that's our John Wilkes Booth story, and it is a great episode. It was a lot of fun to make. Unbelievable EVPs. Got to trail the American history. This well-known assassin and this well-known story, and actually perhaps got him to confess that yes, he was there at the Granbury Opera House and he escaped, just like the conspiracy says. But there was a lot of bumbling along the way and good times. But
another story is when we're kind of known now that there's this TV show being filmed.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I don't even know if we had a name yet at that point. Possibly, they're still talking about the name.
No, we did because we had the Ghost Lab on the side of the.
That's right. So the
lab was wrapped.
Yeah,
already.
the lab was wrapped.
So
by the time.
there's rumor there's a show out there filming, and they told Pat. Remember, Pat drove the Ghost Lab.
Yeah,
he towed it for us. They told everybody, do not by any means talk to people about this show. Don't do interviews. Don't discuss it. I mean, they made that, and they pretty much said if you do, you're
fired.
gone. You're not on this production.
No, not us. I mean, that would have sucked for them.
So,
But we're smart enough not to say anything.
you know how Pat towed the Ghost Lab, and he parks the Ghost Lab right in front of the furniture store. It's the night before he's actually unloading it, putting it on blocks, he's getting it all set up. The jack stands down. Well, these couple of girls walk up, and
with recorders.
they have a cell phone, and they're talking to him with the cell phone, kind of like they're videotaping him.
I
Hey,
remember
what's
this.
going on
Yeah,
there?
I
Oh,
do
this is Ghost Lab. This is a new show.
Oh,
on,
the Klinge Brothers are two brothers, and they're paranormal investigators.
I
and-
mean, giving the whole 9 yards, man, out about have a shit fit. when
because
found
they
that out.
posted it in some little
They were
publication.
called the Ghost Girls or something. Some paranormal group.
So
they
they-
posted it on their page. Here's their interviewing Pat, of all people, talking about
And Discovery
the show.
Channel hadn't released the fact that there was a show
Yeah.
called Ghost Lab.
There's
yet.
nobody really knew that there was a new show coming out.
So, well, Pat, it was nice to know you.
He kept his job, luckily. I mean, he's like, God, it was just funny as shit. But anyways, like I said, we have tons of stories like that, and we're going to be talking about some more here on the other shows. But the craziness and the pranks and all the fun stuff that went along with it, and we had some drama on the show.
But unfortunately, the drama never made it to camera. And that's actually a good episode to talk about when we talk about how we avoided the drama, which is everything that we've been making fun of the other shows about. So we actually avoided on many occasions. But not enough time today. We're going to end it. This episode of Death, Texas, and Tacos. Again, appreciate y'all being here, and we'll talk to you next time.
Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Death, Texas, and Tacos. And if you didn't, we don't really give a damn. Adios, suckers.